ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, from wherever you're watching. And we're back with Cherry and Timber Talk after a smallish break. I think, yeah, we're kind of midway through the IPL, so we thought it's a nice time to reconnect and also look at the plans for India's World Cup squad, which is for the T20 World Cup in Australia later this year. So yeah, it's a nice time to retrospect and also see the current performances and have a look at what's in store for the future. So welcome back, Mahesh and Bhash and Rajit after a long time.
Thank you, Venu. Thank you for having us
Pleasure.
here.
Thanks,
All
Venu.
right, exciting times ahead, guys. So I think before we get to the squads, I think first and foremost we should kind of address the elephant in the room. What's your take on Virat Kohli's current form? I know it's a question which is kind of slightly different sounding now after what happened in the first game today. Obviously he scored a 50 there, but then I just wanted to understand from you guys, what do you guys make of the what we have seen so far? Rajat, maybe we can start with you.
So, well, the current form has been pretty prolonged, isn't it? I mean, almost 2 years now. But then I will not make too much out of the 50 that he scored today. It was not a T20 innings, to be very honest. Maybe I'm sounding a little harsh, but well, he's not the Virat Kohli of old that we have seen. That swashbuckling innings that you saw at Mohali, like, smashing James Faulkner all over the ground. That Virat Kohli is missing for sure.
Yeah, agreed. But then, if you had to take a call as a selector, I'm now putting you in the hot seat. Would you rather go with experience and kind of think that he will come good at some stage and bring his experience into play, or would you kind of let in another youngster and say that let's look at the future?
So there are two things here now. So India's composition, the India's T20 composition,
Yeah.
and when you look at the top two, which is typically, I mean, more or less sorted, right? Rohit Sharma and KL Rahul will open the innings. I don't think that Ishan Kishan experiment will work in the World Cup anymore.
Yeah.
So, Rohit Sharma, KL Rahul, more or less similar styles, and then you can't have a Virat Kohli at number 3. You need to have somebody who kind of innovates a little bit, and that's where I would put in a Surya Kumar Yadav instead of a Virat Kohli. It's a little harsh, but that's how it will be.
Interesting.
It's a difficult call. I'm sure.
It is. Yeah. That's why I said putting you in the hot seat. What about you, Bhash? What do you feel?
Yeah. No, I am going to err on the side of caution and give Virat Kohli one final chance, because I personally feel that, having watched cricket all these years, I think I'm not seen a more mentally tough guy than him. And this is just, if I were to give an analogy, it was when Anil Kumble's tour of Australia, when he was about to be dropped, right? And then the way he performed. We all pray, of course, eventually that he has that. I don't think Kohli, the cricketer, is done yet. I mean, because if you see like if you were to give in a Pujara and Rane, the manner in which struggle, Virat has these occasional flashes of. He's not been terribly bad even in ODIs. He's got those middling runs. So and this is purely from the heart. Okay, this is not. I know we are analyzing, but there are certain decisions in cricket, because we love the game. This is from the heart. I'd still give him one more chance, because again, the form of, I was just thinking of a number 3. I mean, I would want Surya Kumar Yadav to be a finisher in my team. So the number 3, Shreyas Iyer, Ishan Kishan, maybe Prithvi Shaw. I'm not too sure of them, with against the short ball in Australia. So if it was in India, maybe be different, but I would still, give him one final chance.
Interesting. Yeah. So we have one person speaking from the head, one from the heart. Let's see what Mahesh has to say.
So I'll use both my head and the heart. I would go with Bhash. I mean, because it's a big match, a big tournament. I mean, if it was a bilateral series, probably, or a quadrangular series, you might have gone without Virat. But in such a big event, there's something known as experience, and that cannot be, bought very easily. And we are talking about a ground which is huge. Most of these guys have relatively lot of experience to have been played there. So all these things put together, I think I would just tilt in favor of Virat Kohli. But having said that, we've got about 3-4 months to go, and there is going to be a lot of cricket being played. Considering the fact that everybody is fit to play at that point of time, you don't know, injuries can come up and all these things. The biggest advantage with Virat Kohli is that he is extremely fit. he can play cricket for another 2-3 years very easily. I will not want to say about the same thing about Rohit Sharma because Rohit Sharma doesn't look fit. Rohit Sharma is immensely talented, no doubt about that. And the problem is that once his talent doesn't take him, that distance, he gets out, then you start doubting his skill. But with Virat Kohli, you know that his big innings is round the corner. And that's what he did today. So I think I would go with Virat Kohli in the team. But if you want to think out of the box, and like what they did in 2007, and they had a young team under Dhoni that went on to win the World Cup. So it's slightly like what Rajit and Bhash both said. It's a tough call. So I wouldn't want to make a call right now. But looking at the current situation and who is going to be your number 3? What are the options? Surya Kumar is definitely an option, but look at it from a different perspective. If a wicket goes early, would you want Surya Kumar Yadav to walk in that early? Maybe in the first over. You might want him to bat probably the third or fourth over so that he gets a couple of overs of the power play and then he plays till about 10th, 12th over. That's a different thing. But otherwise, I think Virat Kohli will be very, very handy at number 3. So I think, I'll go with Bhash.
But I would add one point here where I completely agree with what Rajit says. The combination of Rohit Sharma, KL Rahul, and Virat Kohli as top 3. When you compare with teams like England or even West Indies for that matter, you need some guy who will just like Prithvi Shaw. I must say again from the heart, I love the attitude of Prithvi Shaw, the devil may care attitude. Unfortunately, none of this. So I can understand where Rajit is coming from. That X factor player who will just
I think the game has changed for sure. The classical batsmanship is no longer relevant in T20s, especially when you have too many players of the same kind. So I think that way I definitely agree. Yeah.
So you asked about Virat Kohli. Don't you put a question mark on Rohit Sharma also?
Or I mean, if you ask me, so I think honestly, if you ask me, Rohit Sharma, I'm purely looking at him from a leadership perspective, right? The way he has performed for India in T20 in the last few months, a clean sheet performance, right? In terms of all the games. Yes, batting-wise, personal form may not be at his best as per his standards. But at least we know that, he's the guy who can gel the team along and, bring the youngsters together and control the situation, right? And the reason why Virat Kohli was giving up captaincy was because Rohit Sharma was about to take over. And we know that he's a good white ball captain as well, right? So I think for that very reason, I would obviously keep him and not have that debate for sure. Of course, it's a point for debate for sure. But I'm just thinking that, from my perspective, I won't kind of drop Rohit Sharma yet because we haven't seen him in an ICC event for India, captain the side. So I think that's the reason why.
Right now, with the team that he's leading, the Mumbai Indians, they're not winning anything. So it's clearly, it's pretty clear that he had a gun team the earlier years. Look at that side. That side could have beaten anybody on their given day. I mean, they're kind of bowling and the bat that they had. Probably we thought that he was great. So you're as good as your team. I mean, the captain is
exactly right, and that's my whole point, Mahesh. Because it's unfair to judge him on the basis of just one this season because obviously the entire composition has changed, right? So they would have to kind of rethink their strategy from a long-term perspective. So it's not fair to kind of judge his captaincy skills based on just this season only, right? Because obviously whatever he has done in the past, it's there because he's really good. Right, because he has won so many trophies because of the fact that he could lead a great team. Plus, he could also manage all the youngsters around the team as well. It's not that only the Malingas and the Josh Butlers and all those guys were performing for Mumbai Indians. Even the youngsters stood up, right? Even the Surya Kumar Yadavs of the world flourished under.
Hardik Pandya,
exactly, Pandya brothers and all those guys, right? So that's why I'm saying that So it's unfair to judge him on one season only. If you take your memory back to a couple of months ago, right, what he did in T20 internationals for India, that's completely different than what's now, right? So it's like all or nothing scorecard. So it's tough to kind of.
No, I just think devil's advocate.
Having said that, I mean, Virat Kohli, the cricketer, like Bhash said, Virat Kohli, the cricketer, is not yet finished. He still has good 2-3 years of cricket left in him. Maybe the format, the T20 format is something which doesn't suit him. One-day internationals, 50 overs, he can build an innings and then bang. That's his game.
Yes, agreed.
I think he's a fantastic 50-over player.
Yes, yes.
because
Absolutely.
he can
And I
pace his
think,
innings well. He's got time to adjust and get settled down. Whereas Rohit Sharma is a phenomenal T20 player, according to me,
correct,
because right from
correct.
ball one, he can hit
Hmm.
over the top and score runs.
Agreed. And I think probably Mahesh, for that one reason as well, when you mentioned about building the innings and stuff, I think probably for that one reason I might have him in my. In fact, I probably would have him in my squad for the T20 World Cup also, because of the fact that the grounds are bigger in Australia. You need a person who's really fit, who can run the twos, who can run the threes, right? Not just hitting boundaries. And I think that is an essential component because yes, the game is about power hitters now, but you also want somebody to rotate strike. You also want somebody to kind of put in the hard yards, build an innings, build a partnership with somebody, and that is somewhere missing. And I think that's also been India's problem in big ticket games. If they lose early wickets, they kind of, that we keep hearing that one bad half an hour ruined the entire tournament, right? So that probably is another problem that we have faced over the years. And for that, you need experience to kind of take your team through. Yes, I mean, Kohli has been found a little short in certain areas and certain big match games off late, but again, we really can't discount that experience as well, which he has. So, all right, so let's come down to business. Let's look at our squads. Maybe we'll start with Bhash today. Let's pick up his World Cup squad. There we go, Bhash. Let's
Yeah.
have you talk through the squad. Yep.
Yeah. So so for me, as I said, Virat Kohli. So as Rajit mentioned, that Rohit Sharma and KL Rahul are sort of etched in stone. Rohit Sharma for the obvious reason. One other thing is we need six hitters. For me, Rohit Sharma in full flow to clear the grounds in Australia because we get big ticket games, right? There'll be
Yep.
MCG, a couple of matches in MCG and SCG. If we had
Mhm.
Geelong and all those other Hobart, etc., they have slightly smaller grounds. So
Yep.
and as you very rightly said, Rohit Sharma is the captain, so would definitely, and
Yeah.
KL Rahul would also be, yeah. I mean, that is etched in stone. Virat Kohli, as I said, from the heart, on
Yep.
current form, it's difficult, but yeah. Then there is yes, Rishabh Pant, because I need a left-hander, and I still think that of course there was. I thought of accommodating Karthik as the wicket keeper, and
Mm.
Hardik, if he would bowl, it would
Yep.
have been toss up between Hardik and Pant, but Pant being the wicket keeper and an X factor player, yeah.
Yep.
Surya Kumar Yadav and Dinesh Karthik would be my finishers. I know Karthik has dropped form for the last three games, but I still think he's a very very street smart cricketer, and on
Yep.
current form, I'd have
Yep.
him. Yeah, uh, yeah. There is a bit of a risk of playing just five bowlers, but unfortunately, I couldn't have a very long tail. It's a huge blow that Deepak Chahar is out. Otherwise, I could have
Yes.
sort of accommodated him because he was flourishing as a batsman. So,
Correct.
unfortunately, Hardik is not bowling. He doesn't give me the confidence for me to play him as a pure batsman. Plus, in Dinesh, I would just by a whisker, have Dinesh Karthik ahead of Hardik Pandya, the batsman.
Hmm.
Uh, Ravindra Jadeja and Harshal Patel who can bat, and Umran Malik. Yeah, this is for far too long we Indians have tried to groom. When it started with Munaf, or we thought that okay, we'll wait for them to come on the big stage. But sometimes I think now the time has come to just unleash someone. I
Yeah.
am now a very strong believer that pace in Australia with the bounce. I think Umran Malik can be lethal, and
Mm.
it's time to give him a go against this in South Africa. This series, the five-match series in South Africa. I know
Hmm.
it was a difficult it was difficult to leave out Shami, to be honest, because Shami with his skills would be. But I just felt that we need to give this guy, lad a go. We need to give him the opportunity, and that's why
Yep.
I have him in my. And on current form, I think Chahal as the wicket taker. I
Yep.
think again I wouldn't have had Jadeja. I would have preferred Kuldeep, but that's the problem is the tail. The tail gets
Yeah.
really long,
Yeah.
and I don't know how to fit in a sixth bowler. I know conventional wisdom in T20s is that you have to have a sixth bowler, but then with Hardik and Deepak Chahar and Shardul Thakur's form also wavering, I
Hmm.
just felt the tail would be too long. So yeah, that's what
Interesting.
I
Yeah,
mean,
it's
it's
interesting.
it's
Couple
a
of
risk,
yeah.
but it's a risk that we had to take, to sort of
Yeah.
have the balance between bat and ball. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. I see a lot of guys vouching for Umran Malik, and I think that's good signs for Indian cricket. And trust me, this IPL we have seen so many fast bowlers being unleashed, on the world stage for India. Right, it's amazing to see, and hope that Umran Malik is groomed as a proper tear-away fast bowler and not a guy who will just hit line and length and will be kind of going into the same category as we have seen before with Munaf Patel and maybe
What
even
happened with
Irfan
Munaf?
Pathan. Yeah, agreed. So yeah, good choices there, Bhash. Interesting ones. So let's see what Rajit has in store. I'll put his team on the screen.
Yeah, so like I said, like Rohit and KL definitely are a no-brainer, and it'll be very important to kind of understand what role KL Rahul plays in this Indian T20 11, because like we saw last year in Kings 11 Punjab, he was caught between what to do, whether to go at a bang at the top or build innings and stay till 20th over, because there was nobody in the middle order. So it will be very important to see what sort of a role KL Rahul is given. I feel that he should be given to even free hands and go conkers at the top. That's the ideal role for KL Rahul. Rohit Sharma, his natural gear is anyways a fifth gear, so no need to worry too much about that. Now there's a very tricky one here between Surya Kumar and Virat Kohli. Virat Kohli purely on current form won't slip into my 11, and unless of course it's Adelaide Oval where India is playing and he has a love affair with Adelaide Oval, that's where he'll play. But my first choice will definitely be Surya Kumar Yadav. Rishabh Pant obviously stays as my wicketkeeper. Hardik Pandya, I have picked Hardik Pandya, but a Hardik Pandya who can give me at least 2 to 3 overs. Otherwise, Hardik Pandya, the batsman, is of no use. And if Hardik Pandya is not bowling, then Virat Kohli automatically slips at number 3 and Surya Kumar Yadav comes as a finisher at number 5. So that's where I am assuming that Hardik Pandya will be fit, because there is around good 15 to 18 T20 international that India will be playing between now in the T20 World Cup. And I'm assuming that Pandya will be ready to bowl at least 2 to 3 overs. Dinesh Karthik, obviously, for the, as Bhash rightly pointed, he's a street smart cricketer and he wants to do well. It's the hunger, right? In this season of IPL, he really wants to do there. He wants to be on that stage and win games for India. So Dinesh Karthik obviously is my number 6. Number 7, I'll go between Ravindra Jadeja and Washington Sundar. Washington Sundar, why I have picked is basically he is somebody who will give me some power play overs. While Ravindra Jadeja obviously has got better batting credentials, at least in T20 at this point of time. But I really don't have that confidence in Ravindra Jadeja to kind of bowl those 4 overs. So it will be a very tricky one between the two. But for starters, maybe we'll put Ravindra Jadeja. Harshal Patel, obviously, for the reasons that he's been utilized pretty well by Rohit Sharma in what T20 international that we have seen he has played so far against New Zealand, Sri Lanka, and West Indies. Chahal is a no-brainer. Bumrah is a no-brainer. Natarajan and Prasidh Krishna. So that's between either of the two, one will play. Prasidh Krishna I have picked because he has got that height and bounce, and it will be and obviously the pace. Obviously not as pacey as Umran Malik, but he has that bounce, and on bouncy pitches of Australia, he'll be an added advantage.
Correct.
So either of the two can slip in. Umran Malik, yes, he'll be in my 15.
Interesting. I think Prasidh Krishna is an interesting choice because go ahead, Bhash.
I had just one question. So if I had the same predicament. So if Hardik Pandya doesn't bowl, because the fact that he went on record saying that I will only bowl if I'm needed to bowl. So, that's where I took him out. So if Hardik Pandya doesn't bowl, you're also risking 5 bowlers only then?
Yes.
Okay. So that's really difficult. That's a problem.
That's a problem with India's T20 11 for a long. Or there's another option to push Ravindra Jadeja at 5, because Rohit, if you have seen in the recent series against Sri Lanka, Rohit actually promoted him at 2. So that's an option. So if Hardik Pandya is not giving me those overs, I can have Ravindra Jadeja at 5 or 6. So they can kind of interchangeable between Karthik and Ravindra Jadeja. And maybe I can use another bowler. But
good to
then
see.
You have to. Then there'll be no Surya Kumar. One of Surya Kumar or Kohli.
Yes.
That's
I think
problem.
It all comes back to Kohli in the end. Yeah, go ahead,
Yes,
Mahesh.
See, the biggest problem that this current Indian team is having is that our top order, nobody bowls. Whereas in
Yes.
the past, we had
Yeah.
Sehwag, we had Sachin, we had
Sachin. Yeah.
Yuvraj, we had Raina. They all would
Yeah.
come in and bowl 2, 2, 3, 3 overs, and that's how we made up the
Yes.
fifth bowler, sixth bowler, or whatever number. That was easy. So it went. So we had a longer batting lineup. Now the thing is that
Yes.
you finish your batting lineup, and then your bowlers start, and your bowlers are not batsmen who can actually score a lot of runs. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's a small issue that we are having. But in a 20
Hmm.
over game, if six people can't score, then I don't think the seventh guy is needed to score.
Yeah. Exactly.
no,
Yeah.
not if you are Gujarat Titans.
So here you're going to see something very interesting.
Yeah.
And nobody has talked about
Gujarat
Tewatia.
Titans are
Neither
Yeah,
we
so,
nor
so
they all
hold on
Rahul
to that
Tewatia.
thought. Hold on to that thought, Rajat. Mahesh's playing 11 is coming up, so you will be in for a lot of surprises here. And Mahesh has, taken the liberty to be, have some cheat codes enabled for his playing 11. So let's see what he has got in store. So yeah, he he has two playing 11s.
So my whole idea is that either of these two teams can play, okay, and one team is going to have Virat and Rohit, and the other will not have both of them. So either you take both of
Wow.
them or you don't take any of them. Okay. Now I'm positively biased towards team one. Let me be very clear.
Okay.
Okay, that's why it's given the first choice. So
Mm-hmm.
there, like what you all said, the X factor is right up there with Shaw and Rahul. So Rahul is going to play the longer innings. So Shaw and Surya Kumar Yadav is going to come and just blast their way. Shreyas Iyer is also there. So if you see 2, 3, 4, and 5 are batsmen who can actually just go hammer and tongs. Okay. So
Mm-hmm.
Rahul is given the comfort of batting through, which I think he's very, very comfortable these days of batting long. Okay. So that's the whole idea. Between Hardik Pandya, now Hardik Pandya's case rests to the fact whether he can bowl those 2, 3 overs or not. That's a
Yeah.
problem everybody is going to have, which I hope that he can bowl. If he bowls, great. Otherwise, I'm going to have Rahul Tewatia. I'm a big fan of Rahul Tewatia. He's, according to me, the best finisher of India right now. I was backing Dinesh Karthik. I mean, people who have been following me on Facebook would know that I started it right at the beginning. But I think Rahul Tewatia has brought in a different dimension to finishing.
Mm-hmm.
Moreover, he can also slip in that 1 or 2 overs, which we might need, at times when probably one of the other guys get hammered. So Rahul Tewatia would be a great six bowler kind of a thing. If Hardik Pandya says I can't bowl or I will bowl only when required, I wouldn't want to risk him because you don't know whether he'll be able to come in and bowl those 2 overs or 3 overs when we really require it. That may be a big problem because he may be out of practice or whatever. So I would keep Rahul Tewatia there. Ravindra Jadeja is there. See, Mohammad Shami was a difficult choice, but I think Mohammad Shami, the way he's bowling, if he's in rhythm, I don't think there's a better bowler to bowl with the new ball. And for
Mm-hmm.
me, he has to complete his 4 overs in the first 10 overs. I wouldn't want
Interesting.
him to bowl the second half because I think he's at his lethal best when he's bowling with a new ball. Of course, I'm going to have Umran Malik. I mean, I would like to actually unleash the fast bowler on all those people who gave us a lot of grief over the years with real fast bowling. Because I've seen, you know what? The other day I was watching the match. Batsmen were actually scared of Umran Malik. The difference between a 140 and a 150 is very evident when Umran Malik bowls. I mean,
Yeah.
people will. I mean, I saw Shubman Gill. I saw
Backing away, right?
backing away.
Yeah.
Ridhaman Saha was batting around 60 or something, but he chose to give away all the 3 stumps and he was trying to hit it over cover, which is definitely not possible. And he can bowl the Yorkers. Come on, we need the
Yeah.
guy. Okay, he
Mm-hmm.
is definitely playing in my level. Chahal and Bumrah are no-brainers. They just walk in. So to me,
Mm-hmm.
this might be a good team for the simple reason we've got 5 proper bowlers and probably we have a batting all-rounder between Hardik Pandya and Rahul Tewatia. And we've got enough batting power, firepower at the top. So I think our batting is till number 7. I think 7 batsmen. If Jadeja is coming in number 7, I think you can't ask for anything better than that. So we've got
Yep.
good amount of firepower. So the only difference between team 1 and team 2 is that the two big guns can
Yeah.
rest for some time, and their place will be taken by somebody else.
So basically,
Between
Shaw and
and
Iyer are
Iyer.
replaced by Rohit and Kohli. Okay, all right.
So I think so. I mean, if you're looking at current form, I think. I mean, I wouldn't. Okay, I believe the Australian model that you pick your 11 and then choose the captain, and rather than choose the captain and then you choose the 10 players. I'm a big believer that you have to find your way into the team purely on the merit
As a
of the
player,
skill.
correct.
Okay, so based on that, my team won. As of now, you don't know. Rahul might flop in the next 5 games, and that guy will be out of my 11. So as of today, this is going to be my 11.
Mahesh, sorry, just a
Yeah,
question.
yeah.
Shreyas Iyer with his short ball issues and current form, are you sure captaining for the World Cup? I mean, just
Okay,
I'm not
short
sure.
pitch bowling. He suspect. Prithvi Shaw is suspect. I remember. I understand.
Yeah.
But the fact is that in these grounds, they what get an edge. It goes over for 4 runs. People, don't attach too much of technique and all that thing. But as a captain, I've been very impressed with the way. See, I know Kolkata Knight Riders is as bad as Chennai Super Kings and Mumbai Indians. But you look at purely as his captaincy, it looked good. And his personal form, he's been scoring runs. I have no problem with the way he scored runs. I mean, he might get edges and what. End of the day, his scoreboard says 50 runs. Good, great. It's fine for me. So I don't know whether we should be overly critical about this. I mean, who likes to play short pitch bowling? To be honest, very
No, no,
few players in the world like to play short pitch bowling.
I'll
So
just
yeah,
rephrase
I
the
so
question. Would
because
you have
to
Hardik
me,
Pandya as a
KL Rahul is
captain?
not a good. Okay, to me,
Would
also
you have
so on
Hardik Pandya as the
elimination.
captain or Shreyas Iyer for a world? I mean,
See, the
considering how
fact is that I'm not very sure about Hardik Pandya, but if Hardik Pandya is playing, I would be tempted to give him captaincy. I think I maybe have been one of the very few people right at the beginning who said I'm mighty impressed with the way Pandya was,
yeah,
handling
I
the.
agree.
And,
Yeah.
okay, so I mean, maybe about a couple of weeks back itself, I said, okay, he is going to be my captain for the World Cup. I said, but off late he doesn't want to bowl. No, when you don't bowl, unidimensional cricketers, big problem for me. At least from batting perspective, at least the guy should come and bowl at least 2 overs. He bowls 2 overs, he's my captain. Simple.
So
If he
Mahesh,
can bowl 2 overs, he's my captain.
your team won. Your team won looks brilliant for T20 World Cup, next T20 World Cup in West Indies and USA. Be suited for that condition.
Is that in Australia, we need younger legs to begin with. Okay, I agree completely. I mean, so we don't have to hide anybody. The biggest problem that Indian teams have had in the past is to try and hide people. Without naming people, I can say that this was one of the points that Dhoni had, right?
Yeah.
He said that he had to hide people. Whoever it is, let's not talk about that. But we should not be hiding players. So here I think this is okay, nowadays the fitness level has improved significantly that you don't necessarily, maybe an Ashwin may be the only guy you might need to hide. So he's not there in my 11 any which way, so it doesn't matter.
Virat Kohli is a fielder. I don't think anyone can
Or
have.
gun fielder.
Yeah.
Put him at mid wicket, put him at square leg, put him at
Yeah.
long on, he's brilliant.
Yeah. And I think so.
See,
One
that's the reason
common
why
theme. Yeah. Go ahead,
that's
Mahesh.
why right at the beginning I said that for me Virat Kohli will board the flight to Australia because of the size of the ground. The grounds are huge out there. I mean, you need arms from where you can throw the ball straight into the wicketkeeper's hand, not 3 bounces to the wicketkeeper. You'll run, yeah. I mean, somebody like Javed Miandar will keep running only all the time.
You need a brave man to have Virat Kohli on the flight to Australia and not play fair.
If he goes, he plays.
Either they don't go.
Yeah.
I mean, what I'm trying to say is like South Africa, either they don't go, like what Sachin, Dravid, and Ganguly do, or if they go, I don't see them not playing.
You can't put
That's
him on
true.
the bench. You
Exactly.
can't put him on the bench. He has to play. If he goes, he has to play. Period.
Absolutely.
So I think one common theme.
is the man to look out for.
One common theme across all teams, Mahesh, which I've seen is that all three of you agree that Hardik Pandya has to bowl, otherwise he's not in the squad. Right?
Yeah,
So
that's a no-brainer, Venu. That's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
You have to bowl. He's not very good as a batsman. He can do two things, so he gets into the team.
All right. So time to pull up my team, and just a word of caution: this is a very safe team which I've chosen. All right. So don't go hammer
Doesn't
and
matter as
tongs
long
on
as
me.
India win the World Cup, I'm good with it.
So yeah, there's just one surprise option which I'll talk about. So yeah, again, Rohit Sharma KL Rahul, Virat Kohli, right? So those are my top three. I probably might want to switch Kohli and Surya Kumar Yadav's positions based on the game situation. If we get a really good start, right? It depends upon, if you lose an early wicket, yes, Kohli walks in. If we get a really good start, say about if we are 80 or
Perfect.
in 10 to 12 overs, or say 9 or 10 overs, I can probably throw in Surya Kumar Yadav right away so that, he can carry the momentum forward, right? So that's my theory behind this. And again, I already told why I want Kohli in the squad in Australia specifically, because bigger grounds, I want somebody to, build an innings by running ones and twos hard as well, not just focus on the boundaries only and, give away dot balls as well. So that's the reason why I want him in the squad. And again, for the fielding part, which Mahesh already mentioned. So those are my two reasons for having Kohli. Surya Kumar Yadav walks in. Dinesh Karthik. Again, I might switch positions between him and Rishabh Pant based on, again, game situation. So Karthik is my finisher. No-brainer once again, based on current form. And I think the versatility that he brings to batting, batting down the order, and he's kind of playing all around the park right now. So it's very, very hard to bowl to him in the depth. So I think that's something which makes him a really, really good contender for a finisher. Rishabh Pant, I think he's my wicket keeper. I might want to kind of reevaluate whether, between him and maybe some of the other power hitters which we might have. But again, I thought that, he's been around the team for a while. He's got experience. Plus, being a left-hander, that's a huge advantage to have. So I think that's the reason why he's there in my middle order. So my safety starts from Ravindra Jadeja onwards, right? So now it shows you that I have 6 bowlers. So, and, that's something which I'm willing to kind of, sacrifice because I really wanted 6 bowlers as 6 options. Jadeja will bowl only if needed, but the other 5 below him are kind of my top bowling priorities. Kuldeep Yadav purely on current form, and another reason is that Australia being bigger grounds, so I think it's hard to hit the spinner away, and especially a spinner who have traditionally done well in Australia. So I think plus Kuldeep being a mystery spinner as well, so not many people read him that well as well. So I think that's the reason why I have him. Again, obviously, I'm not going by batting order out here. It's just the names out there in terms of bowlers. So Harshal Patel definitely will bat ahead of Kuldeep Yadav. And Harshal Patel, again, for his death bowling, we all probably have him in our squads as well because, he's been really good at the death. He was there in the T20 World Cup as well, right, last year, if I'm not wrong. And then with RCB as well. And, he's done superb. I mean, the way he has his variations, the slower ones, the Yorkers and everything, it's just really hard to get away. Yuzvendra Chahal walks in right away based on current form. I think it's a no-brainer. Jasprit Bumrah as well, completely, walks into the team. The last one, I had a big call to make, and I really wanted to, have at least one surprise element in my team, rather than having the same guys all the time. So, based on current form, once again, so Arshdeep Singh, on what he's done for Kings 11 Punjab in the last few games, the way he's bowled at the death, and adding variety to the bowling lineup by getting a left-hander as well. So I think a call was between him and T. Natarajan, and again Umran Malik also. But like some of you guys already said, he will be in my 15, Umran Malik, and I'll probably unleash him somewhere in the tournament. But again, from a safety perspective, this is my safe 11, which has 6 proper bowlers and maybe a couple of people who can bat. Yep. Yes.
Venu, there are 12 in your 11.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I counted right now on the screen. I was also trying my level best to have.
Oh, sorry. Sorry. I think I made a mistake. Probably. Okay. I think it's probably. I probably forgot to put 12th man somewhere. In my
12th man.
So Arshdeep is your 12th man?
Yeah, probably Arshdeep would be my 12th man. Yeah.
But then that risks you with having only 2.
Sorry.
But then there is a risk. You go with only 2 medium or 2 fast bowlers.
Yeah. I know. So I think yeah. So then probably I might have to reshuffle my team. Sorry, so I made a mistake there. I'm sorry, guys. I think it's a counting error.
Now check everyone.
I've been trying my level best. I've been trying my level best to fit that 6 bowler. And I thought, ये कैसे बस अपनी 6 पे add कर दिया. I was like, how the hell did he do it?
Okay, maybe Arshdeep would be my super sub, and I'll get somebody concussed in the first innings.
So you are going to play with 5 pure batsmen? That is counting
Yes.
Karthik as a pure batsman. Okay, he's going to
Yeah,
be
of course.
he's going to
Of
be a
course.
batsman. He's not going to
So
keep.
I think in that case, probably I might pull in somebody like a Tewatia who might give me some movers as well with the ball. So I think and again that's a call which I wanted to take with Rishabh Pant. So I probably might replace him with a Rahul Tewatia. Like for like. Obviously, he's not a wicket keeper, but a left-hander finisher and a person who can bowl well plus field well as well. So yeah.
But then who keeps wickets for you?
Dinesh
Rahul.
Karthik. Dinesh Karthik. Yeah.
But
Yep.
see, the most important part for the balance of the team, and what
Yeah.
we saw in the last World Cup in UAE, India struggled with 5 bowlers. There was always
Yes,
a dew factor.
exactly.
I'm not sure that dew will play that huge a role in Australia. But we
Yes.
need to have 6 bowlers, and that's where Hardik Pandya
Hmm.
bowling those 2 overs is very important. If Hardik doesn't give me those 2 overs,
Correct.
I might as well risk Ravindra Jadeja at 6.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, that's the whole point, right? And Jadeja as a
Rajit,
batsman,
Yes.
why don't we keep Tewatia at 6 and then have 5 bowlers?
The problem with Tewatia also, Mahesh, is that he hasn't bowled too much. If you've seen this in this IPL, he has done a finisher's role. He has bowled 1 over 20 runs, 2 overs 35 runs, those sort of a thing. So, I mean, Hardik Pandya hasn't shown that confidence in Rahul Tewatia as a bowler. He's
Yeah.
brilliant. As a finisher, he's been absolutely brilliant. But Rahul Tewatia, while he bowls, that confidence of even 2 overs is not there in Rahul Tewatia. And that's why I say Ravindra Jadeja. I mean, if you ask me, I don't really have confidence for 4 overs of Ravindra Jadeja in a T20 match. So
Correct.
Ravindra Jadeja at 6 with a couple of overs works.
Yeah.
But 4
Yeah.
overs.
So
is
the
a
thing
fifth
is that
over.
a very balanced team would have a batting all-rounder and a bowling all-rounder. Okay. Whichever way. I mean, it can be number 5 will be number 6 will be a batting all-rounder, and number 7 will be a bowling all-rounder. And then you have 4 proper bowlers. So that makes it 6, correct? So
Yeah.
our issue is not the bowling all-rounder. We've got bowling all-rounders.
Yeah.
We've got Jadeja as a bowling all-rounder, and then we've got 4 bowlers. 4 bowlers can be, I mean, any of the 4 that between the 4 of us we've decided. The batting all-rounder is where we have got limited options.
Yeah.
Hardik Pandya is our number 1 batting all-rounder. There is no doubt about that. Okay, if the guy decides that, if the guy declares that he can bowl 2 overs every match, he's good enough for me. 2 overs is more than enough. 12 balls is all that he has to bowl every match. But whether he wants to bowl is one thing, and whether he can bowl is another. I don't know his fitness level and all that thing. We have no idea about. I mean, he must be carrying an injury. All these people cover up injuries during IPL, and all these injuries surface only when they have to play for India. Actually, if you see, okay. This has been happening for a long time.
I have a slight
If you
cheeky
see-
comment here. What
If
agree
you
with
see-
Rajit? You
Sorry,
know,
sorry,
the
go
6
ahead.
don't forget Virat Kohli. I mean, if at all push comes to shove, if at all plus Tewatia to bowl for give 2 overs 35, Kohli can't do much worse. I mean, ultimately, I'm trying to put in Virat Kohli somehow. You see,
We remember
Then Virat Kohli can
2016
bowl 2
Wankhede.
overs.
exactly. So he took a wicket. First
Yeah.
ball.
Yeah.
So
I don't know
if
why
at all,
Rohit Sharma can't bowl. He has taken a hat trick.
I know
2 hat tricks in IPL, if I'm not wrong.
that.
Yeah.
When Virat Kohli has to bowl.
And that's where you miss the likes of Sehwag, Raina, Yuvraj
Yeah,
Singh.
Sachin.
Exactly
Yeah.
what I was
Sachin
trying to
was a
tell.
5-wicket bowler, man.
Yeah. Correct. Agreed.
Ganguly
Yeah, I
was
think.
Sehwag, Sachin, Raina, Yuvraj. Four batsmen who can bowl.
Yeah.
2 to 3
and
people.
Saurabh,
They would have easily-
Toronto.
Yes.
Saurabh and Sahara.
Yeah, I think so. Probably where we are getting at is that this current team has a lot of unidimensional players, especially in the batting order, which probably is becoming a problem for us to select a T20 11, which probably calls for more multidimensional players. To be honest, and I think that's where the problem has been in the last couple of T20 World Cups for India.
Could Deepak Chahar get fit by the World Cup? Because for me, I mean, he was
Yeah.
really doing well as a
Yes.
batsman too.
Boss,
For
if
me,
he's
with
there,
the
you
new
put him
ball,
up. Very good.
I think
Yeah.
it's a
He's
big
a damn
blow.
good
He
bowler to have.
could improve the balance of the team immensely.
Yes.
If Deepak Chahar
Yes.
was fit,
Correct.
as a thing, I think it's a
He's
big blow.
a great substitute for Hardik Pandya when it comes to out of
Exactly.
fields.
Correct.
And with the
Then I
new
think
ball.
that Pandya thing will not be a problem at all. You can directly
Yeah.
replace him with a Deepak Chahar, and plus he swings the ball as well, right? So that's
Yes,
a
so
big.
I think it's a big blow. I don't know what has happened. He had a back injury. I think he had a
Yes.
hamstring injury and suddenly he had a back injury. So
Hmm.
See, these back injuries can be so terrible that it actually affects your career, because then you don't bowl fast, you don't want to stretch
Yeah.
yourself too much, then you become half the bowler that you were, right?
Yes.
I mean, there are great bowlers like who have actually their career has gone away because of that.
Hmm.
I hope that that's
Agreed.
not the case with Chahar.
Simon
Agreed.
Jones, no, if I'm not mistaken, was never
Yeah,
the bowler
Simon
that.
Jones.
Yes.
I mean
Correct. Simon
that
Jones.
Ashes, I think he was the best bowler for England in my view.
Yes.
Oh, he won an
Yeah.
Ashes all by himself, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, thanks to some mint lollies which Marcus Trescothick also ate. So I think that helped in the reverse swing part as well. So, but yeah, agreed. Simon Jones' effect on that Ashes series was amazing. I mean, I still remember how Michael Clark, just left the ball and it came in and crashed into off stump. So
Amazing.
that one was awesome. Yeah. So yeah, score update: Rajasthan Royals are 56 for 2 right now. They're Daryl Mitchell and Josh Butler at the crease. So interesting. Run rate of 7.15. So I think they're kind of putting a launch pad here. Look at about the 180 mark. So at the end of 20 overs. So yeah, interesting. So
If
let's
Butler
let's
is
see if
batting all the way through, they're getting a big score. That's for
they're getting
sure.
200 for sure. Yeah. Yes.
He's in the form of his life.
Yep. All right, guys. This was an interesting discussion. I think what will be even more interesting is kind of regrouping on this after the IPL or maybe a month down the line and seeing where everybody's team is and maybe, looking at reshuffling some of our options and seeing how
Correct.
we kind of get the balance of the team right. So yeah, who knows? We might see some more interesting names propping up based on their current form in the IPL as well. So
Ayush Badoni has impressed me considerably.
yeah.
Probably after the
Even
England tour, we have some pointers as to who is there, kind of, because
Yeah.
Asia Cup and World Cup more or less will have the same T20
Same thing.
squad.
Yeah, exactly.
Correct.
Yep.
So I had one question. Do you think Rane missed a trick by not going to England for county?
The
I
county
mean,
cricket,
because the way
yes.
Pujara, I mean, now Pujara is making it difficult. Huh? 3 centuries on the
Yes.
trot in England. He might be in the
Yeah.
squad now for that one-off test.
The good thing
Yes.
that Pujara did is he said, forget white ball cricket, I am only focusing on red ball cricket.
On red
That's
ball
my
cricket,
strength, I'm going to
exactly.
stick to it. That's a very
Because
sensible thing that he did.
I think
exactly,
Rane should have done the same
it
thing,
doesn't fit
probably.
into your
Yeah.
white ball setup now, for
Yeah,
sure.
Rane
I
doesn't.
don't think
Yeah.
No
Rane can
chance.
ever. Rane doesn't
Yes.
have
See,
a
if
chance in
you're
that
taken
team.
and you're warming the benches, that means
Yep.
you're not going to make it in the Indian team for sure. Nobody's even
Correct.
talking about him, right? So why
Yes.
waste time? Go and play
Exactly.
league cricket or something that can get him back into the test team. Even the test team is
Yes.
now becoming more and more difficult. I mean, look at the quality of
Hmm.
players. See, cricket
Yep.
has changed. We need runs quickly.
Correct. Agreed. Yes. Yeah, it will be interesting to see. We have a new test captain as well. So yeah, interesting times ahead for India. So
Both
let's
the teams have
see.
new test captains to finish off the series.
Yes, Ben Stokes and Rohit Sharma. Yeah, it will be interesting to see what happens in England for that final Test match of a series which lasted more than 1 year. So yeah, so that'll be a first of its kind in international cricket. All right, guys, thanks for your time. Lovely discussion here, and let's hope that we have an entertaining second leg of the IPL and we have an entertaining tour of England after that as well. So yep, catch you guys soon. Have a good night. Good
Bye-bye.
night in India. Bye
Thank
bye.
you.
See you.
Thanks, Venu.
Bye.